Hello everyone, I'm Eric from Sports 365. Here with me once again is my colleague Alex. So, another week's gone by, so it's time to talk about some more Miami Heat stuff. Haven't been that many updates, but there are a couple things to talk about, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, first of all, in terms of the Heat potentially trading for Damian Lillard, seems like Lillard is really making it clear that the Heat are the only team he wants to be traded to. Reportedly, Lillard's agent is calling other teams that might be interested in trading for Lillard and basically telling them not to do it, telling them that he'd be unhappy there and that he might go so far as to not even play at all for them if he's traded to a team other than the Heat. So obviously that benefits the Heat, and obviously it makes potential trade between the Heat and the Blazers for Damian Lillard a lot more likely. So what are your thoughts on Lillard doing all that and making it clear that the Heat are the only team he wants to get traded to no matter what?
Yeah, well, I guess there's two things. Firstly, it's the first time I can remember a superstar without a no-trade clause trying to force a team to trade him to a specific team by telling everyone he's going to refuse to, going to be unhappy and possibly even refuse to play for any other team. So I guess it's another development in this, era of player power over the franchises. Having said that, I think maybe Lillard is bluffing a little bit. I don't think he would actually refuse to play for a team other than the Miami Heat. I think, he's been a consummate professional and a hard worker throughout his entire career. I don't think that would really change. I do think maybe he wouldn't be very happy if he was traded to a team other than the Heat, but I do think he would actually play and practice and all that stuff. And I think there are some teams out there that feel the same way. So I think Lillard getting traded to the Heat is the most likely outcome. However, I don't think we can rule out Lillard getting traded to another franchise.
Yeah, Lillard's definitely been very good in terms of his professionalism throughout his career. But I don't really know if he's bluffing at this point. Obviously, when you talk about a superstar requesting a trade, they usually have a list of teams. Like I want to be traded to one of these 3 or 4 teams or whatever, and then their current team tries to see if they can make that happen. But it's not a list; it's just one team, the Heat. When it comes to Lillard, I don't know whether or not he's bluffing. I mean, obviously, I don't have inside information in all this or anything, but. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if he was more open to playing with another team, if he was traded to another team other than the Heat, I kind of doubt that he would even have had his agent talk to other teams and basically tell them not to trade for him. I think if he was willing to play for another team, he probably wouldn't have gone that far. So, yeah, I don't know in terms of whether or not he's bluffing. I kind of doubt that he is at this point, given everything that he's done. As far as being traded as just a single team, we have seen it sometimes. I think, depending on whether or not you consider Anthony Davis a superstar, I think you could put him in that conversation because, obviously back in 2019. He only had 1 year left on his contract, and he basically
said, if I get traded to a team other than the Lakers, I'm not going to re-sign with them. So you're going to trade all that for a 1 year rental of me, then I'm not going to re-sign with you. I'm going to sign with the Lakers in free agency. So, Davis basically made it so getting traded to only the Lakers was inevitable. There's a difference between that and just refusing to play at all for a team other than the one you want. want to go to. But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and obviously it was a bit different because Davis only had 1 year left on the contract, whereas Lillard has multiple years left on his contract. So it's not the exact same situation, but it is kind of similar. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just see what happens, and hopefully he can get that deal done. There's probably going to have to be a third team involved because the Blazers, with how the roster is constructed, don't really want Hero that much, just because they have other players they want to prioritize in the same positions to provide some of the same things. So it's understandable they won't be that interested in him. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Heat can complete that trade, although I think it's going to take a while. Now, moving on, obviously the Heat have played some summer league games, and I think the two players that have really stood out the most have been Nikola Jovic and Jaquez Jr. Both of them have played well in summer league so far, and it's definitely good to see them play well. I think especially with Jovic, because obviously he came to the Heat as more of a project player, but he seems to have developed his skills. He seems to have put on some muscle as well, which is definitely good. So it's good to see both of them play well, and makes me optimistic as far as how they'll play when the actual NBA season starts in October. So what are your thoughts on Jovic and Jaquez Jr. both doing pretty well in summer league so far?
Yeah, it's great to see them doing well in summer league so far. Of course, it's just summer league and it's still early in the summer league. But like you said, I'm especially happy to see Jovic doing well because this is his second season. He was brought in as a project player, but given that it's his second season, we would need to see some progress being made. And it does seem that he's developed his skill set. And of course, Jaquez is, he's a mid-first round pick, so even he's like a little bit of more than likely needs to develop his skill set before he can become, a regular contributor. But it's good to see that, he's not too far off of being a NBA regular, it seems.
Yeah, I think it's good to see both of them play well. Of course, summer league and the actual NBA regular season are not all the same thing for a lot of reasons. But, it's good to see two of the Heat's most promising young players do well, and hopefully they are big contributors for the Heat, and hopefully they play well for the Heat, and help the Heat, do really well next season. We'll see what happens. Both of them have a lot of potential, so I'm excited to see what they do throughout the rest of the summer league, and obviously into the actual regular season coming up here relatively soon. So there you have it. Some more developments in Lillard's desire to only go to the Heat. We'll see what happens with that situation. And Jovic and Jaquez both playing well in summer league so far, so definitely interesting developments. And we'll have to see what happens with that Lillard trade moving forward, and hopefully he can get that done as soon as possible so they can really hit the ground running when next season starts.
Yep.